Good afternoon, Zachariah Jackson, BASA News. We're here with the Honorable
Beat up man, scars all on it, come on.
the Honorable Sharp James. Sharp, you know, since we've been interviewing each other, since I've been interviewing you, and the appraise that I get from people, the accolades, knowing that it could be a sharp change in Newark again. And they remember the Prince Street, what it used to look like. They remember what Springfield Avenue used to look like.
Yes.
And they give all credit to you.
Well, it was a team effort.
Yes.
And I'm proud to say that a great team effort.
Yes.
That
yes.
we've been able to make a sharp change in Newark.
Exactly.
New Jersey PAC.
That's right.
Prudential Center.
Yes.
Award-winning society.
That's right. That's right.
And you mentioned Prince Street, where I was a little Boy Scout. I didn't know Cub Scout, I didn't know which finger to hold up. And couldn't walk Prince Street then. It was, woo! And now today you go along Prince Street.
Yes.
From Springfield Avenue to the end. What a change.
What a change.
Team effort.
Team effort.
Team effort.
But in every team there's a coach and there's a leader. And they're championing the fact that you were at the helm. And they're happy that you were.
Well,
that you drove this ship, that you cruised that ship real smooth.
You know,
troubled waters.
I'm glad you mentioned that because people ask, why is an old man running for councilman at large? And when we recognize that there are going to be 4 to 5 new members on the city council come July 2022,
that's right.
I just felt after 38 years of public service, 38 years as an administrator, 38 years a legislator, a college professor, councilman, councilman at large, mayor, state senator, coach.
Yes.
Boat captain, don't say that too loud. don't mention the boat too loud. I'm honest about it. We took people out over here.
That's right.
Gus Henningberg introduced me to boating, and it became something that I love. And on the tennis court,
right.
I wanted to lend my experience to the city council and to the administration. And now we have a situation where they're talking about a 208 conviction.
Exactly. Yes.
I had to take it to it. But on appeal, we went to the 3rd Circuit Court of Appeal.
Right.
The 3rd Circuit Court of Appeal went to the Supreme Court.
Yes.
And they ruled, not Sharp James.
They
ruled.
In your favor.
In my favor. And now everyone is blind to the law. It was okay when the law said, Sharp James, go to jail, 18 months, Sharp James, put handcuffs on you, Sharp James, you this and that. But now that the law, the federal law, is in my favor, they're saying, no. We're going back to 208. And I just want to believe, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe some of you can help me. If you're on appeal from a 208 sentence, and the 3rd Circuit Court argues that they argue, give you 50 pages up, and then they make 2 rulings. Is the law of the land the rulings of the federal 3rd Circuit Court of Appeals in concert with the Supreme Court, or do we go back to 208? I'm confused. I'm really confused. I wore the handcuffs. I wore the jail outfit. In fact, it was the same jail outfit that I wore in the Army. Green khaki suit. And the only difference was, in the Army I had a name, in prison I had a number. It's the same suit, it's the same suit. Khaki green. James. Khaki suit, 285.
Wow. So, where are we at now? Will you run? Will you do a write-in? What?
Right now, I'm so disillusioned, so hurt.
Yes.
Members of the city council and
Okay.
administration, and I have helped both of those. The administration that came out of the Sharp James administration. 5 members of the city council are there because of Sharp James.
That's right.
And when I go to a council meeting and say, may I have 3 minutes to speak, 3 minutes to ask a question, and every head go down like this, I'm disillusioned. When I go to a city council meeting and Miss Lisa Parker, she was there, Lisa Parker.
Yeah.
Shockley was there, Louis Shockley, Raheem was there. And I asked a question with two lawyers now, two lawyers sitting on the city council. And I said, maybe it's me, maybe I'm too old. I don't like the word senile. I don't like the word, what's the other word, or you walk with dementia or what. Could you ask me the question? We have two council members now, Gonzalez and Trump, who are lawyers.
Right.
Help me. Does a 208 Superior Court law supersede two 210 rulings of the Third Circuit Court of Appeal in concert with the Supreme Court? And they, no, they did. They dropped their head too. Something is wrong in our city now. That
Do you think they drop their head because they feel that if you are on the ballot,
you know where you're going.
a sharp change?
Let's be honest. There's no two guarantees in life: paying taxes and dying.
That's right.
You got two guarantees: paying taxes and dying. There's no guarantee. With all the accolades you give it, there's no guarantee that anyone running is going to win.
Sure.
And we could go ask State Senator Sweeney about that.
Yep.
Where a truck driver, a truck driver, spending $175 got him out. Okay, no guarantee.
There's no guarantees, never.
So the city clerk, Kenneth Lewis, had an obligation to place me on the ballot. And then if I'm lucky enough with the benevolence of God above
That's right.
to win, then they can come and argue, well, hey, handcuffs, you can't hold off. Let's go to court and let's argue 208 versus Third Circuit and Supreme Court in 210. They didn't give me that opportunity. City of Newark is wrong, city clerk is wrong, the mayor didn't step in to help, the council didn't step in to help. They are wrong. And here is the federal law. We are told to obey the law.
Yes.
Yep.
Obey the law.
Yes.
The law says Sharp James' defense met the burden of proof,
That's right.
that is convicted under a form of honest service, and the Supreme Court on June 24, 2010 ruled there is no crime of honest services unless it has kickback and taken a bribe, both lacking in my case.
Okay.
Mayor Vaz of Amboss, when that rule came, his honest service charges were dropped. The Democratic chairman, Joseph Ferreira, and I apologize, his charges were dropped. The only person in the state of New Jersey who did not have his honest services charges dropped, Sharp James.
Wow.
Sharp James.
So we look at a conspiracy at some point.
I have groups who say, let's have a write-in.
Yes.
I have groups who say, let's rush into federal court. I have groups who say, let's march on City Hall, let's march on the council. We're not going to make a knee-jerk decision. We're going to meet and we're going to decide what to do in the face of an injustice.
Yes.
Dr. King said, an injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere.
Yeah.
And here we witness an injustice in Newark.
That's right.
That everyone's just sweeping the rug. Sharp James, he been in office too long, he's too old, forget him. And I'll just say to the people and to the public, I might be old, I'm not cold.
That's right.
I'm above ground, not below ground. There is a difference. There is a difference. There is a difference. There's some young ones who are cold. And there's some old ones who still got a breath of life in them, Lord Jesus in them,
That's right.
God in them,
That's right.
and still can.
But I'm kind of shocked that anyone today would play the age against youth thing today.
Wow.
Because, my father was born in 1918.
Woo,
So if he was living, he would be like 102 years old.
Mm-hmm.
All right. When my father was 59 years old, he was an old man. I'm 59 in June, and I don't feel old like that. So the game has changed on age.
That's right.
It has changed. Now this isn't something psychological that you say, you know,
Right,
like some
right,
people say, psychologically I got $1 million and you know you don't have it. But, but the game just have changed, you know, that it's just different. I mean, my father was proud of his pot belly. He was proud of it. You know, he couldn't, when I was 10 years old, he lost his sight. So my mother would tell me to take him over to the Howard Bar to be with his friends. And I remember him with his suspenders and his sweater, and he would hold his stomach, and his friends would say, "Oh, Ruth taking care of you." And it was a badge of honor.
Right.
You know, it was a badge of honor. So the game has changed so much today.
And I would have been remiss if I didn't say that, but my mother is 107 years old.
Oh my God.
That's right.
Calling every day. Sharp, are you coming to see me today? Sharp, who's stealing my money? If that car out there, then I buy that Sharp money. No, okay. Go to Wells Fargo and check on my money, Sharp. That's every day. No. But
That's beautiful.
what Moms Mabel said it better though. Age is only a number.
Yes. And you know, man is too with a dream, a vision. And when we say things, we talk it into our spirit. It was said years ago by Moms Mabel, but today we're living it. It's sure it's just a number, without a doubt.
Yeah.
You know, whatever.
You know, Miss Lisa Park and I have been at all the meetings about justice. Maybe she has some view on what you like to do.
I've been an activist in Newark since George Branch when I moved here.
Okay.
Buddy Gee.
That's Buddy Gee. And I have to say to you that in the last 8 years with this administration, this city has never been in this type of despair.
Okay.
And as far as Ken Lewis and the city clerk, he has bastardized the city clerk's office by not holding his obligation of fairness of an election. We were denied a special election for Mildred Crump's seat in November.
Yes.
We also had a host 19 people that went for at large. Las Vegas wouldn't even take the bet that only the Baraka team's people get on the ballot.
Right.
And so, therefore, there's something really insidious that an administration would be lawless enough to not give us a democratic process for a fair election and for the people's choice.
Sure.
Because Sharp was the people's choice.
Ah.
And why I'm saying that is because you had younger people that ran for the same seat, and in 2 weeks' time, this man garnered over 2,000 petitions.
3,000.
Over 3,000 petitions that younger people didn't have the energy, the stamina, nor the strategy to go out and have a ground game and people that love and support them. So I say we don't have a form of government now. We have 8 years of council members, the legislative body, that do not answer any of the constituent concerns.
Head down.
No answers.
Hey, but now, shocking. I'm not attacking the administration. I have a son who's on my team, so I don't want to go that way.
Sure.
But now, Shaka is an activist. The council role. How do you see the role of the city council?
Well, the role of the city council is the same as it's always been.
The dog.
Under, it's a continuation of what took place under the Booker administration. The council is going to sit silent. They're not going to answer the questions to the community. And valid questions. I mean, when you have a distinguished honorable mayor, former state senator, and he's saying to you, and he's asking questions of 2 lawyers, about the legality of Mayor James's right to run, and they have no answers, that's a problem. So as Lisa Parker says, I've been there to all those council meetings. They sit there, they nod their head, they put their head down. Some are even playing with their cell phones, disrespectful. I mean, so
going to sleep in council.
yeah,
meetings.
some are doing that as well. But I just want to real quick chime in on this ruling. I don't know where we've come to in America. If you look, a lot of stuff has changed. Like a judge was the only person who had the authority to put points on your license.
Yes.
Now the insurance companies can do it.
Yes.
The car dealers can do it. Anybody can do it. I want to know, how does Linda R. Feinberg do a 2008 ruling when she wasn't the presiding judge over Mayor's case? How did she intercede and step in before Judge Martini? Because, you know, once somebody says, okay, Mary James is guilty, now comes the sentencing process.
That's right. Now
comes the process of, okay, restitution or anything that has to come down. That comes from Martini, not from Feinberg.
Right.
She has no horse in this game. And I want people to think about that. Because this man went to the Third Circuit and the Supreme Court. And I was taught in school and in civics that federal supersedes state, state supersedes city.
I want to thank Raheem. He was the one who brought the charts up to ask the city council. Here's the rule. They brought these charts up. He brought and held those up. We want to thank you for that, Raheem. Did you do that?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And here is our message to the city clerk, Kenneth Lewis. Blind to the ruling of the Third Circuit Court of Appeal, blind to the ruling of the United States Supreme Court, blind to his duties in office. Blind.
Yes.
This is the new dial. You said, what am I doing? I have to walk around with this because they're blind to justice. And that's where we are. You don't mind waiting, right?
You don't mind waiting.
In addition to that, with the clerk's office, people that are supposed to access open requests, right? Open records. We have to file with the state that we were denied access for open requests for them to fine the city in order for the city just to give us open requests, open records.
Okay.
That's public information.
Public, yes, public.
But not to be bashing, like the mayor said.
Thank you.
Not to be bashing, there is a broken system that we're addressing. Not personalities, but a broken system that's led by the administration.
Do you think that we had, you know, I interviewed two people that's independent back in January and February that's running for mayor in Newark. And you can look at the interviews on YouTube and Facebook, and they said that we were leaning towards dictatorship.
Absolutely.
So that, you know, in fact, one young lady said that she almost hollered help. You know what I mean? That we, you know.
Well, I said we was a monarchy when they sat Larry Crump in Mildred Crump's seat in lieu of giving us a special election, and Ken Lewis stated that the city could not afford an election. The citizens should not bear
That's not an issue.
that in terms of our responsibility to allow people access and the right to vote. People died to give us the right to vote.
Say that again.
People died for that.
It's really hard when you look and say that Mayor Barack was my former aide.
Sure.
Mayor Barack was my former deputy mayor. Louis Quintana, council president, was my former aide, was my deputy mayor, and we walked the streets to make him the first Hispanic elected at large in the city of Newark. All Guiando was working at public service when I hired him as an aide.
Okay.
And all of them are blind right now to justice. Sharp Jane, who submitted sufficient number of petitions for councilman at large, more than the 1640 required. As Lisa said, more than 3,000 should have been certified and placed on the May 10th ballot. And the only reason I'm doing it, they said, he might win. Well, I said, you run is no gamble. What they're saying, he might win. He might kick off one of our candidates.
And we'll be in trouble because we'll have somebody sitting on the council that has legislative acumen, knows how government is supposed to run.
Okay.
And honestly, when Sharp was in office, we had 2,400 police officers on our street.
Sure.
We're a city of over 300,000. We only have less than 600 officers. That speaks volume about the decline and the despair of our city.
If I can jump in here about this money angle, it's a travesty that the city clerk can claim that the city doesn't have any money to run a special election. Number one, that's not the issue. You find the money. You find money to do everything else.
Sure.
As Lisa just brought up with the cops, you got rid of over 1,500 to 2,000 cops. You got rid of all kinds of other employees. We should be swimming in money. But when you're giving away tax abatements and you're doing all this other stuff and the money's going out the door as quick as you can get it in the door, and as I said at the last council meeting, we're undervaluing and underselling our property. I mean, I know this man. I know Mayor James. I know what he's always been about. It's been about putting money in the coffers so I could put kids on the youth program. When he gave away these old houses, you know, which was what the deal they went after him for. This is nothing new. We know hundreds of people who have bought houses that sat for 20 and 30 years. He said, put them back on the tax roll, get those water bills back in because it helps the city generate revenue.
Let's send the most important man. We're not against anyone.
Sure.
Right.
We love the city of Newark.
Absolutely.
We are for the Newark.
Yes.
We respect the people who have shown their love, their respect, have never abandoned our city. So we don't want people to think that we are mad at anyone. What we're asking for and what we are pleading for is justice.
Justice.
Right. That's what we're trying to get. We're trying to, Ray Charles, the late great Ray Charles, can see the difference between a 208 court ruling and a federal court ruling in 210.
That's right.
208 does not supersede 210.
No.
And fairness. Just fairness. It shouldn't be just Team Baraka and no one else. And that's the perception that's out there. And honestly, it should be, our elected should be born from the people who we say should be representing us.
Encourage people to run.
Exactly.
Encourage people to run in a democracy. You know, and my age is going to tell. We came in office when we were being oppressed.
Yes.
Absolutely.
We came in office when black and white cops didn't ride in the same car.
That's right.
We came in office when we couldn't walk in certain neighborhoods.
Exactly.
We came in office when after football games between certain schools, there was an automatic fight.
That's right.
You would get stopped on certain streets. Couldn't live in certain neighborhoods.
That's right.
Then after we elected the Honorable Kenneth Allen Gibson, the first African-American mayor of a major northeastern city, a man who everyone loved.
That's right.
Loved. We came in office. Should we become the oppressor?
Absolutely not.
We should be the ones who said, we want the next generation to participate. We want young people to get involved.
Yes.
Anyone who wants to run has a right to run.
Sure.
We're not there.
And this is a man whose legacy of the people whose shoulders they stood on.
That's right.
Quintana, Barack. They stood on his shoulders. So he essentially turned the torch over or the reins over to stewards that he thought would do the right thing by the people of Newark. And by denying people the right to vote and to choose who our elected is nothing more than suppression and denial of our rights.
Never about Sharp James.
Right.
Clearly, makes it not about Sharp James. My best years are behind me. It's about the people.
Absolutely.
This campaign
is about
James for the people.
That's right.
To be their voice.
Yes.
The Bible taught us what you do for the least of my people, you do for me. And George Branch, Lisa, your counsel said, never look down on a person unless you're going to reach down and pick him up. And now that leadership that that was born throughout
that we need today.
is not trying to push us down. That's wrong.
And let me just piggyback off what he said. Not about him.
Right.
We came to him.
Sure.
We adopted him. We asked James, we need your experience.
Sure.
We need your leadership.
Sure.
We're not getting the bang for our buck. We're not getting the streets done. We're not getting the police department stuff that we need. We're not getting the fire department. We went to him. 3,000 registered voters said we want Mayor James. And the clerk, let's go back to Ken Lewis in the clerk's office. It's not their job to suppress and try to keep people off the ballot. I went through this process 3 times and made it only once. You know, Bob Marasco had 900 of my petitions and held them for over a month. 900 rejected petitions. I got that information from somebody in the clerk's office that said it wasn't right, it wasn't fair. And that's where we're at. Fairness, right.
Sure.
Opening up the democratic process, bringing people in.
Sure.
You don't shut the door. If you shut the door, then you're going to keep this repeating cycle. But they didn't want anybody else on. Let's just be clear about that. 19 people ran, and they couldn't get the ballot. Come on.
And to piggyback off of Shockley, if Ken Lewis was so determined, let me put it that way, to disqualify people's petitions, it was never called into question Team Baraka's pick of Weber. He didn't even vote in Newark in the last election. That wasn't even questioned.
Wow.
Nor, you know, his personal record as a police officer against black people. So if you're in a city with predominantly minorities, why would we be putting forward someone who don't respect our community?
That's right. That's right.
And so we don't see that as a good representation for us.
All right, host, your time to talk.
Sorry.
He is the host now. He is the host there.
Yes.
With his summer Easter suit on. Hello, folks. How's he look with his Easter suit on? Red, white, and blue, patriotic.
Well, you know, what I see from the last 10 years, and I remember when they put the New Jersey PAC downtown, you know, they built that up, the New Jersey PAC. And I also remember when you're out here interviewing people, a lot of times when you don't have the camera, your eyes still work as a camera. And I remember back in the 90s when people would leave the New Jersey PAC and people from other communities, let me just say it like that, they would literally, after the show, run out of there. I'm talking about run. Get their coat, give them my coat. They would almost argue with the coat lady, give her a coat, give her a coat. And they would run. I was in that crowd a few times and out with a date or something like that. I said, wait a minute now, we don't run. I said, we're from Newark, we don't run out of Newark. Let them run. And we would let the people run. They would run from the New Jersey PAC down into the parking lot, the underground parking lot.
Right.
Get their cars, run out. They would run. But let me show you how time changed things.
Well, you know,
Let me finish this.
go ahead, I'm sorry.
Let me show you how times changed things. I was at the Earth, Wind & Fire show maybe a month ago. Okay? And I was looking for the same jog that the people normally do. Well, after the show was over, I figured I should move out the way because they're going to jog out of here. Right? You know,
Gonna get trampled.
you're going to travel or whatever, you know. Well, let me say, the steps was very smooth. They wasn't rushing to leave Newark. They, you know, when we got outside, you know, into the outside facing the parking lot, you know, I know we would move to the side. Oh, no, they were slow steps.
Yeah.
Slow steps. So, you know, what I'm saying is that, you know, right now we are wrestling among people that was bred here, basically.
Right.
Moved here early in time, basically bred here. But there's outsiders looking too. That you know, we have a lot of apartments and a lot of condos that maybe me and you don't go down. But people live here. They're getting a 3, 4, 5 year history now. 6-year history.
Yep.
They're looking at the city council. They're looking at all these different things. I want to know, do you think in maybe by 2032, which is short from now, will we have a candidate that's not homegrown? Are we headed that way?
Absolutely we are.
All right.
Well, I'm sorry.
With the gentrification and why you see the transition is the fact that they have One Liberty Square, high-rise building, Shaquille O'Neal, high-rise building. You see people that come here every day, that live here every day.
That's right.
But we don't see them because they're not coming out, because Newark is not a destination city.
Okay.
It is not like New York where you have Chelsea, the Village, the theater district. So in other words, after 5 o'clock, we're like ghosts. I saw Gregory Porter and Diane Reeves there. Same thing, people were nice and pleasant. But what I'm saying is, we're going to have a change and a transition in this city that lifelong residents will not be included, like they did in Harlem, like they did in Brooklyn. And so we're saying to our council members, why aren't you preserving our communities of lifelong residents? Declaring us historical landmarks, because we've been here since the beginning.
Pillars of the community.
Exactly, but we're not the ones that's giving favor, and I think that's what they're opposed to, because we're fighting for the greater good of the people in our community.
Yes.
You know, those are the things when the James administration was in office, and Gail Chainfield was one of those who talked about Newark being a destination city.
Right.
That's why we had the New Jersey Devils in Newark.
That's right.
That's why we had PAC in Newark. And I brought Arthur Ashe here, and we created a national tennis program for everyone.
That's right.
It went international. And he wrote me a letter that said, Sharp, we took 4,000 kids off the street, took the glass off the tennis court, fixed the net, and now they have recreational tennis, scholarship tennis, and some are playing pro. And Bob Bynum is just back in Newark, creating a program. Bob Bynum's in the news now, coming back to Newark with a tennis program. We brought the youth games to Newark.
Remember that?
We brought the supermarkets back to Newark.
That's right.
We brought the movie theater, Ironbound and the Central Ward back to Newark. Those are things we thought about. Roller skating back to Newark. One lady said, Mayor James, you have this basketball, midnight basketball. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Kids over there playing basketball twice. I said, well, hold on. We're going to listen, take some feet. Maybe we're going to change a little. But I'd rather them playing basketball, snatching your purse off. They're not going to sit at 9 o'clock. They're not going in July and August, they're not going to bed at 8 o'clock. I'm telling you right now.
That's right.
And it was a successful program, too.
And let me just say, what you were talking about earlier about the PAC, again, the PAC, the arena, that's the main thing.
That's right.
And look at how they did the arena. That arena was never set up to be like that. That entrance is supposed to be on Broad Street.
Broad Street.
That TV was supposed to be on Broad Street. Because this mayor saw the wisdom of having everybody have a look in our downtown.
Right.
You're not looking at nothing on the back of Marbury Street.
That's right.
All you're looking at is the train station and Gateway 3 and 4. What is that?
Like MSG.
Yeah, that's not inviting. He wanted people to be a part of Newark.
We've had so many fights. I woke up one morning and Governor McGreevy's going to remove Newark from our airport.
Right.
It's going to be Liberty International. Oh God. All of us respect what happened in New York. In fact, Newark sent contingents of police, firemen, people, volunteers, food. We did everything. But Governor, you can't eliminate Newark from our airport. It's on our land. Oh no, we're going to change this, Governor. Wait a minute. I just got some large garbage trucks on a grant that they have criticized and said I should have built some drugs. The grant said garbage trucks only.
Right.
Obey the law.
There you go.
So I bought these huge size garbage. You have it all right. Governor, if you remove Newark from that airport at 6 o'clock when 5,000, 7,000, 8,000 people get off that plane. 30 of them garbage trucks will be out at the airport. Well, you would do that, Sharp? Well, you would take our name away? We're the landlord. We're the landlord, McGreevy. You might want to run for governor again, but we're the landlord. So he said, well, I know I do, Sharp. We'll call it Liberty, Newark, and no. The pilots sometimes have short memory. They'll say Liberty, they won't say Newark.
That's right.
We want Newark, Liberty, and
there you go. That's where that comes from. That's where that comes from. Oh my God.
I don't have Liberty.
No, exactly.
I don't have Liberty. They work
Wow, Sharp.
McGreevy, no, McGreevy.
When we book our flights, it's NWK. Newark Liberty Airport, NWK.
EWR.
Yeah.
But see, but
that's
that's the reason why we asked this man to run at large. Because he stood for Newark. The programs was about Newark. He was always, now I'm not going to say he didn't have a fundraiser outside of Newark that we couldn't afford, somebody. But,
hotel, man.
But,
the 1,500.
But every time he could do something in this city, he did it. Because he knew there were people down there at the Hilton Hotel who need to make tips. He knew there was people at these hotels that need to make a little money. And he always, I've never, again, you look at these guys today, it's always off to some golf courses all the way out there. Why? We play right there.
Right here, yeah.
And Mayor James used to tell people that all the time. He said, what am I running out of my city for?
That's right.
When I can do everything here. He said, I got a movie theater now here.
That's right.
He said, I got arena here now. Yes. I got the arts here now.
Yes.
But to your point about will we be here in 32 years? By 2032?
Yes.
It's doubtful, like Sister said, because the gentrification is here. And again, that was the reason for a Sharp James candidacy. That was the reason, because we said, could you please help us keep Newark? We don't mind people coming in. We love people. You know, we've had people coming in, like we said before. We had the Italian section, there's parts you couldn't go to. But at the end of the day, we were all Newarkers.
That's right.
And now we're losing that.
I don't see, in all fairness, everything we said, how 4 at-large candidates can want to run unopposed, no opposition, and raise their hand for an oath of office on July 1st and take their illegal seat when they crushed opposition. They crushed their opponent. They crushed Sharp James. They viewed themselves so weak. They didn't want common. That's un-American, undemocratic in the year 2022.
And in Larry Crump's case, at the time when they gave him his mother's seat, he announced that he wasn't going to seek her seat going forward. Something had happened between then and now that he became unopposed in a seat that we never had an election for. So there's a double whammy in that.
Well, you know, the law is on Sharp James' side being ignored.
Yes.
The 1939 Hatch Act says you can't be an employee, run for office as an employee, and campaign using city car, city fax machine, being chauffeur driven sometimes, city staff, can't do that. Now, while they're denying me my civil right, my human right, my Third Circuit Court of Appeals right, my Supreme Court right, they are blind to those in violation of the Hatch Act.
Yeah.
They're blind. The people attacking me, some of my employees driving up in a city car, running for office. Wrong.
Intimidating candidates and voters to say, you can't sign this person's petition, otherwise there's going to be casualties. Now, I'm a district leader. You can't have the chairman of a Democratic Party committee to demonize other Democrats. And so, for me, it's an ethical position. If I have my fan favorite, which is Sharp, and I'm opposed to another one, it's my right to choose.
Right of choice.
But you cannot have the Democratic committee demonizing other Democrats because they're not Team Barack.
Sure.
Now, there's something very foul about all of that.
And let me tell you why they want to run unopposed and why they don't want no competition. Because to want competition, you got to have that athletic spirit.
Right.
And it's sitting right there.
Right.
They don't have that athletic spirit.
No.
Where was Louis running? Where was Louis Quintana playing tennis at? Where was Louis Quintana running a bike at? Where was Louis Quintana teaching track at? Look at those four at-larges and tell me any of them have that spirit of competition. I love a good fight.
That's right.
I love a good debate. All of us in this room love that.
Yes.
And the only people who fight against that are want to be dictators.
Yes.
People who don't have that fight, who don't have that love, and that commitment.
Sure.
Let's put that in there. That's a big one.
Yeah.
To have the commitment to do what's right by the people. I mean, this is just disgusting to me. With black people, we've come from the ashes.
Yes.
We fought hard for access to be able to sit at a counter.
Yes.
Now you're telling me you're going to deny
the
me my
right
access to get on the ballot?
The right to participate, the right to vote. Can we drink out of the water fountain?
Yes.
Hey, come on.
That's going to be the next
So
move.
I don't see that as forward. I see that going backwards.
Yes.
We are going back.
And by our own people. And that's what hurts the worst.
Yes.
I know he's got to be hurt. Because like I said, all these people rode in on his back. He helped them to become what they are today. That's like me turning my back on my mother.
Yes.
She brought me in this world. What I look like turning my back? Whoever brings it is
Make
the
it
old
father, not mother.
What,
Okay?
my
Make it
mother.
father.
But what's that old saying? That dance with the one who brought you.
Come on now.
Dance with the one who brought you. Don't not give him a ticket.
Yeah.
Don't
Well,
keep him outside the club
Hand me
and don't let him in.
that. Right, hand me Shaquille O'Neal.
I knew that had to be Shaq's shoe.
Our city,
Yes.
had a young man grow up, became an all-star in basketball, Hall of Fame,
Yes.
Shaquille O'Neal. And he's watching all of this too.
Yes.
He's come back to help. Let's talk about the building he built. By the way, he came here, married, he came to my wife's door, opened the door, she couldn't see out the door. He went to my club stuff, what was that? Not the Key Club, the one down on Queen Street. Club Millennium. And have a birthday party. And I drove him around Newark. And he said, I want to come back, Sharp, and help Newark. And he looked for houses, Springfield Avenue. And now he's building a beautiful structure. Thank you, Shaquille O'Neal.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. Well, you heard the voice, and as we conclude, I'll just say one word. Where do we go from here?
We'll let you know.
Okay. Again.
This is not the end, but a beginning.
That's right.
Okay.
This is not the end.
But a beginning.
Before I be a slave, I be
Dead in my
buried
grave.
in my
All right. Zachariah Jackson, BASA News. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was excellent.
We don't